Here's why I love Towers of Doom as the first battleground in this series, because both teams, as we pointed out multiple times now, on the same skill level. So, if for some miraculous reason one of the teams gets a really good early game and snowballs a little bit on that, Towers of Doom is the best map to stabilize, because you can't immediately lose the game by dropping keeps or exposing your core. There's always a comeback mechanic that allows you to stall up the game. We have seen Team Liquid come back from 4 or 3 HP in the European HGC against Team Dignitas, and there's no reason why Chinese teams won't be able to pull off the exact same thing. So, one spicy game, one exciting game. I'm super hyped about this.
The Abathur is banned out straight away. Absolutely no chill. We did see it played yesterday by KT. So good studying there by HOTSLADY, and also just the sheer power that the hero has on this map.
Exactly. We touched upon this earlier. The Grey main copies, the Illidan plays, the double Genji. There's hardly any hard engaging assassin that Abathur cannot enhance even more. So we take out this little slug. And KT, they now have the chance to ban the Genji if they don't want to face him. Genji, I think, by now has probably the highest ban rate in China. Strangely enough, they don't seem to ban Uther. Like, other regions, especially Europe, they tend to ban Uther every now and then. But China so far,
He pops it every now and again, but very rarely, which is kind of strange. But nowadays, we are seeing a lot of prioritization onto Dahaka and onto a Nubrak, which can take preference.
Exactly, and especially Dahaka, you brought up a good point. He's just so dominant here if played as that annoying split pusher, only to arrive in the nick of time. But no, they go for the classic Genji ban. Now, first picks, of course, we have the old suspects, the usual suspects, Uther and Uberak, one of those crowd control machines. Always nice to have. I would actually love to see a statistics here for China, or basically all the other regions as well, what the win percentages are when Uther plays against a noob. Like, does the Uther comp win normally, or is it more leaning towards the Nubrak comp?
We shall have to look that way. I would say potentially Uther probably has the higher one if I had to predict. We see the double support Valor comp coming in once again, and this time it is for HOTSLADY, whereas KT getting prioritization on 2 of those tanks.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity has been deployed by HOTSLADY. Now, what is usually good against that? We talked about playing the map, out-pushing the opponents and causing a lot of trouble this way. Might be a good way to tackle those compositions. We saw a lot of hard CC lockdown by Fnatic with the Varian Greyman comps against the double support, really utilizing the Mortal Strike as well. There's many ways you can tackle those comps, but it's still going to be damn hard to crush through all the defenses that Auriel plus Uther offer. Just remember last game. I mean, even with a good hook, even with a good pickoff, there's always going to be some sort of saving grace. The Divine Shield, the Crystal Aegis, maybe even the Turtle if he decides to make an appearance. It's going to be hard for KT already.
Will in fact be hard for Kudos Top, and the question is, how are they going to play around it? We will see. For now, starting off with their bans in the second rotation, and Tyrael as the ban. Fair enough, the double Angel comp with Tyrael adding in even more protection for the Valor has been scary. And HOTSLADY, you mentioned these different mages. They choose to ban out one of the most scary ones against the Auriel, the Chromie. Even though they already have Uther, they don't want to take the hand of protection when they need the Gun the Ancient Kings to deal with the Dahaka and the Nubrak.
There we go. Sorry, by the way, guys, for the quick interruption here, but I had to re-sync my own stream because Tetra was slightly ahead. Now we should be back to balance.
I am on 7, but I had a very quick stutter, so I'm on the board between 7 and 8.
Same here. Perfect.
Nice. Lovely.
There we go.
How did I get ahead? How does that even happen?
I had a little bit of a lag in the previous series, so I thought it was not really that big of an issue, but you were quite far ahead with that Tyrael ban. So it's all Gucci now. We're all good. So let's see what they're going to come up with. The Chromie ban, of course, makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't really like Chromie to be picked automatically every single time we see an Auriel, because it's not like it's an auto win, right? It's a good counter, sure, but you still need to be able to make her work. And in the example previously, when Wukong Gaming faced eStar, they also picked the Chromie, but they still weren't able to overcome Auriel automatically. So I still like the ban, though. It's a threat you don't want to deal with. Now, what do you make of the double global here, Tetra? Falstad and Dahaka.
I like it. Always powerful on this map. You've got some good poke potential with the Falstad as well. If you really want to go for the lightning build, you can go for Bribe, but that's unlikely. We're more likely to see auto attack as Falstad will stay in lane a little bit more, or Q to try and burst through all of that damage that we will be, all of that healing that we will be seeing from Ariel and Uther. He can adjust which build he really wants to go for, depending on which tanks we see from HOTSLADY, because he might want to go for the Giant Killer.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's HOTSLADY's turn to pick heroes, and if you know Carlo, their main tank player, he's a solid Arthas, but they go for the Stitches instead, plus the Malthael, and you know what? I like it for two major reasons. A, you take away the anti-healing potential that KT could have maybe gone for with that level 7 Touch of Death on the Malthael, and two, just in case Vala gets taken out or she's getting pressured away by the enemy team, you can always switch Auriel's Hope to Malthael, and as soon as he pops off that Tormented Souls, you're going to have a huge gain of hope. So I'm really, really happy with the draft that HOTSLADY brought to the table. What can KT finalize their own composition with?
We will see. They could use a second damage dealer. Falstad on his own can do work, but he's going to really struggle. So they really could use something else, whether that's melee or ranged is the other question. If we go by the theme that a lot of these teams have been going with, they could go for Zul, and on this map, pressure onto the bell towers can get serious value, so Zul could work out for them. I'm
a little bit skeptical of the Zul though, because solo assassin Falstad against double support, it's probably not going to be enough punching power to really get through. So they end up going for the Greymane after all, and it's actually incredible to see that Greymane has made it all the way through to the end of the draft without anyone even considering him.
That is weird. I will make a quick argument for Zul though. The double healing, like you said, would make it a little bit difficult for him. But at level 20, he does get the mortal and flowing wounds, so he could try and go for healing reduction. But once again, that requires you to survive till level 20.
Oh yeah.
So the Greymane, much safer of a move, gives you good burst to try and get through that. But you're against Uther with armor, you're against Ariel with Aegis. Makes it very difficult. If you are going for burst, you could get countered quite hard there.
I'm really curious to see how much of an impact the new Zul is going to have once he will be allowed in HGC, because right now in the PTR, there's already a lot of people telling us really good stories about the rework, with some of the W talents being now much more impactful. The skeletons, of course, can be manually directed towards your rooted target, which is really, really sick. To even apply more burst follow-up damage. So there's many cool things that Zul will have in store once he's fully released. But for now, of course, the old version is still there. Towers of Doom, I probably wouldn't be the best map to go for him anyway, because all the damage he inflicts on structures can be reverted. So there's no eternal or infinite damage to be done. For now, though, guys, both teams are getting ready. If you took a look at both drafts, who would you lean forward to or towards to?
Both drafts are actually pretty solid overall, but Malthael's in one of them, so I got to lean towards HOTSLADY.
Me too. I think their draft as a whole package just looks super well-rounded. The double support is impeccably strong. Is it going to be enough, though, to take out their opponents KT, who have some really strong damage themselves? We're going to find out in a bit, guys, on Towers of Doom here. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Towers of Doom. As we load into our first game of our final series of the day. Spawning on the left-hand side is going to be HOTSLADY with Y, playing Vala, Pommy on Ariel, Lias on the Malthael, Meng on Uther, and Carlo is going to be playing Stitches.
In the red, we have the new upcoming team here in HGC China. It is KT. We have T-Dye on the Rhaegar, Neptune on his Dehaka, Fury is going to ride the Falstad, Seeing on Greymane, and Butcher is going to be the main tank here on the Anubarak. And both teams are looking pretty solid from experience, though. What we've seen so far, the double support Vala Holy Trinity just looked so dominant still. I mean, it's actually a strategy, or it's a team composition that has been around for a long period of time now, but still, yet people or enemy teams seem to struggle dealing with this comp, and that's all due to the fact that there is so stable, so many panic buttons, so many disengage tools. It's a really fascinating phenomenon to observe.
Really is. Greymin actually finding himself on the wrong side of the gate here. That was not intentional, but either way, he's able to break through it without too many difficulties as Malthael arrives. In fact, he even goes further in as they've been able to break through the gate. They can now go onto the fountain. So it is a bit of a race. Stitch is finally rotating down to bot lane. It was a 4v3 in terms of this race, but now it is a 3 versus 3 with HOTSLADY pushing in the mid lane and Kudos Top pushing in the top lane.
It's kind of unusual to see this heavy pressure in the mid lane. Normally it's always like a trade-off bottom versus top. But HOTSLADY, they not only surprised us a little bit, but also their opponents, it seems.
Yeah, like mid has no mercs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it. Now goes Malthael actually. Meng getting zoned out as well. So this bell tower may actually die once they get the next minion wave.
Yeah, you brought up a
rotation from wide to side.
A really solid point. Like there's very few battlegrounds that includes mercenaries that actually push to the middle, with the exception of Infernal Shrines, maybe, and Cursed Hollow. But here, all those Zapper camps, they will only threaten the side lanes. So if you weaken down the towers, if you get rid of the gates, those Zappers are going to have much more value when it comes to tearing down what matters, and that is the bell towers. So
bot lane especially. I don't think I've ever seen a game end through top lane on this map. It just doesn't happen. Even though via all intents and purposes it should be possible, it just doesn't happen these days.
Exactly, especially if you have good timing and good coordination, you can really unlock 6 Zappers at roughly the same time. And when there's 6 of those little guys pushing towards your death zone, it's actually very hard to defend, not only because they are pretty good in terms of damaging against minions, but also if you stand too much in the focus fire of those guys, they will actually hurt you as a hero quite a bit as well.
Indeed, they work in the same way as Abathur's ranged locust, that they do sieging damage or a catapult. Carlo going to be able to deny for a temporary time as Malthael does delay enough time for Malthael to arrive, and that should be enough for HOTSLADY to take. But so many play heroes rotating down, and they don't start it yet. They delay a little bit, maybe too long. We will see as Lias moves in to try to die, not even close to it in time. As we see a hook and attempted kill on Haka. He's burrowing for the delay at least.
He dodged the E from Malthael, though, still takes the poison damage, and there's not enough healing power on Rhaegar yet to really save his buddy in need. And a great rotation by HOTSLADY, really making sure that first blood goes over to them. Actually, second blood, my apologies, because there was a death happening earlier on Malthael. But look at that. You take one down in the bottom lane, or even close to the mercenary camps, and immediately the rotation by HOTSLADY follows up. They go for the first Zapper camp. That is going to apply additional pressure. That is probably going to give them additional value from tower XP as well. There goes 1, 2, and the third one hits the gate.
Yep, so the gate is a lot more vulnerable now, so the pressure on mid lane has sort of been abandoned. It is now the bot lane that is the target, as once again, this is the one that the Sappers do push in through. And Malthael holding down the top lane so much that Haka is being forced to try and soak 2 lanes, and they're going to attempt to kill Carlo to try and gain some of that XP soak back. There's the drag, and Carlo should easily die here. Unfortunately, that means bot lane's been abandoned, so it's actually going to die. Or maybe not, they're out of minions.
That is what we call tactical feeding. You buy enough time for your team members to actually apply pressure on buildings, which normally results in permanent damage, whereas a single hero like Stitches will come back after 10 to 15 seconds, especially in the early game. That is always a good trade. I do want to highlight, though, that if you play Hero League, for example, or Team League, and you happen to play in Towers of Doom, I know it's not in the current map pool, but if you do, you can use crowd control abilities to sometimes stop the Zappers from charging in, especially low cooldown abilities like the Hammer of Justice from Uther can be really nice. You need to have enough burst damage, though, to kill those Zappers, because immediately after getting rid of the stun, they're going to continue charging. So, just a little tip for you guys.
So this is interesting here. HOTSLADY weakening mid and then rotating to bot. Weakening bot, now rotating to top. There's an objective bot. So the question is, are they going to rotate down, or are they going to attempt to continue a theme of rotations? If they do, though, the Borodon misses. Volt is used. Can they catch Y? The drag not landing. Polly is doomed due to body blocks, but Y microing to freedom.
Yeah, I gotta say, that was impressive dodging here by Y. I think he was not aware of the ambush here from KT, because he was actually mounting up, frozen in place, and now is he going to get away? Uther is nearby, but no cooldowns ready. The W just so close to landing, and that is going to be a bell tower in favor of KT, and all of a sudden, this heavy focus on ganking actually paid off. It didn't really in the early stage of the game, the earliest stages of the game, because we're still in the early game, but now they actually managed to snowball ahead quite handsomely here. Bell tower in the top lane, future mercenary camps are going to threaten the core directly, and of course a slight lead in XP. Well done.
Yeah, if they take it, once again, it's very rare that sappers are actually even taken in the top lane, let alone actually driven all the way to the core. We'll see if that does happen. Hook onto a new burrow charge is available, able to burrow out of danger. But Valor dropping crazy damage output.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to be really careful with those aggressive vaults. Of course, if you have double supports behind you, you can afford to play a little bit more aggressively, but still, sometimes those reckless maneuvers will backfire pretty brutally here. Now we see Lia's going in here, but false side easy peasy disengage. Level 10 arrived now for KT. They go for the Curse Bullet, the Gust. We see more and more isolation, which I really, really like against double support.
Yeah, it looks very nice indeed, as we do see a deep push by HOTSLADY. This will take down the bell tower without too much trouble, just in time for Dahaka to get those sappers to attempt to take the bell tower back after it's already been taken back. I just said back 3 times in a row. Hooray. As we do see the bell back to back. Nice. Completely missed that one. Well done. We do see an Alter spawning in the mid lane. Dahaka can tunnel in. Falstad hanging in the mid for just a little bit longer, but he might need to come down as the Tormented Soldier is already being used by the Malthael here as they try to chase onto Greymane to burst him down to remove that damage output. The Gust only removing Stitches, but it's too late. Greymane has already fallen. Can they try and turn it around though with that Divine Shield?
Meng a little bit too far away from Malthael to save him with the Divine Shield, which would have been nice, of course, but in the end, it turns out to be a 1-for-1 trade. Once again, Vala, why? With that aggressive repositioning here, but it was a fair trade. I think, given the fact that HOTSLADY actually were the ones setting up this fight and still losing a team member, it was a little bit favorable for KT. Also, keep in mind that, of course, Greymane is now on his way already, but it's exactly in the middle, so both Malthael and Greymane will arrive at roughly the same amount of time, but KT, they're not taking any risks. They know, of course, that if Stitches lands a good hook, they might lose another team member. But now, speaking of Carlo on the Stitches, he's getting dragged, lick, and taken out.
And this ganking squad of KT, it's really good at catching individual members, even killing off such a high health tank as Stitches. But in terms of team fights, they are going fairly even. It's currently 6 kills to 2. And both of HOTSLADY's kills have been acquired mostly during team fights as they move in to try and defend their bell tower and get some punishment. Even though they're down a hero, they want to try and at least drive away KT, but they're not going to save their bell tower here. The minions will not finish that off. Good save.
Wow.
Saving it on the skin of his teeth.
You might actually argue that sometimes losing the bell tower, especially in the middle, is actually worth it, because then you can basically recapture it and get more XP for your own team. So now you basically have to worry all the time, right? And even for the next altar phase, just one quick Falstad flying could actually seal the deal and cause you to lose a bell tower. Whereas if you lost it right now, you would have enough time to recapture it. So some of the irony happening on this map sometimes.
Putrid Bile dropped very early by Carlo. There is already a cocoon down. Carlo is completely isolated. Aegis to try and protect him. Uther will pop out there, getting healing, and Carlo is tanking through. The Ancestral also landing, though, onto Butcher as he turns it around. It's a 3-man knockup, and as such, Neptune will be able to escape. Big engage here with no one going down, but HOTSLADY come out ahead as they were able to get the bell tower. Now, it would be interesting if Falstad actually took the enemy bell, the HOTSLADY bell tower, so they were just inverted. Exactly,
that would be quite the obscure scenario. Now, I gotta highlight the great synergy and communication on the side of HOTSLADY. Like, why on the Vala? He always knows when to go in. The Divine Shield was ready, the Crystal Aegis was used before, so they knew, okay, we still have one panic button left. The heals were always on point, and Y is just such a good hope generator as a result, because he can allow himself to play that aggressively. And I just gotta say, I really like the aggressive playstyle coming from HOTSLADY so far. Now, Falstad easy going to finish off the bell tower in the middle. No, he's flying all the way down. His team needs him at this side.
They already had the control over that mid one. 3 shots coming in here as that mid to bell tower went out to minions, actually.
Oh, that was lucky!
There's the Gust coming in as we see incoming Dahaka from the back, silencing it onto Stitches. Not the best target to hit here. The Tormented Souls getting good value, spreading out the damage. Dahaka hooks back in and he will fall.
And you basically saw how well he used his torrent here, Lias on the Malthael. He used it on the minions simply because he wanted to have more self-sustain to guarantee that he would not fall. It is so cool to see that sometimes players use abilities that are meant to be used on heroes, for the most part, to chase them down, are used in nearby minions instead to guarantee their survival. So really, really well done by Lias, and he continues to prove to us why he's such a dominant player on all of those melee assassins, such a big playmaker.
They did only get 3 shots, though, from that bell tower due to scumbag minions in the mid lane taking down the bell tower. Nicely done. HOTSLADY, though, taking good control of the map, able to pick up themselves a good boss and making up for the shots they lost there by getting an extra 4 shots onto the core of Kudos top.
Absolutely. Really sneaky boss attempt here by HOTSLADY and successfully executed. That is, of course, another big advantage of having a Malthael in your team. Against neutral monsters and objectives, his poison is insanely strong. And trust me, the boss on Towers of Doom is the deadliest one we've got in the game in terms of raw damage output. So you want to get rid of this guy as quickly as humanly possible.
Yes, you do, and now it's down for a very long time, so they don't have to worry about it. This is a big part about it. It's already gone, they've got the shots. They don't have to be concerned if they lose a team fight about protecting that area. Carlo managing to find the 1 minion he had not killed yet with his hook, so that is no longer available. Flying down with the cocoon already dropped. They want to try and focus the person inside the cocoon while we do see Greymane zoning out Valady. So be careful. Can they kill off Ariel with the silence?
Well,
they certainly can.
Easy peasy, yep. That was a clean kill, and that also secures them to level 16 here. Why in trouble? His main babysitter is no longer available. Is Anubrak going to get her?
They do get a couple shots.
Uther. Oh, Meng.
Overall, though, in terms of the shots, Uther is in a bit of trouble. Uther will die. But in terms of shots, we did see the double altar capture Stitches. And Malthael was had snuck up to the top, and they were able to grab 6 shots total, I believe, since they only had 2 bell towers. They're about to only have no bell towers, as we do see KT taking the most of their advantage, even though they're behind in core shots, trying to race this. And look at HOTSLADY, they're split. They're trying to take down 2 at the same time, meaning that they're going to take even more shots because they're not going to kill a bell tower quickly. Finally, they're choosing to focus onto top.
The bombardment has commenced. Every couple seconds, we're going to have 1 damage. There goes 1. I think we're going to see another one coming in here. There goes 2. And are they going to be fast enough to kill this bell tower in time? Oh, no! The 3rd shot comes through. Oh.
3 shots. That doesn't bring the core health even, but that's beautiful for Kudos top. Able to get in those extra shots without too much issues on their own side. This basically gives them a little bit more control. And it also keeps HOTSLADY busy, but this is giving HOTSLADY a lot of XP, taking all these back, which is allowing them to catch up a bit.
Yeah, fortunately for HOTSLADY, they took the boss earlier, because this bell tower fiasco for HOTSLADY would have definitely been enough time for KT to get the boss. But look at that onslaught. 6 zappers. That's exactly what we talked about earlier, Tetcher.
Greymane moving in, doing some damage, trying to force them to group up. One of the tappers already dead. Down goes the second. They're finishing them off. They're not wanting to use the gust to try and get the rest in. And as such, all of these tappers will be killed. Now a noob hooked in for a charge. Nice, easily able to get out. And now it is just a situation of killing off this bottom bell tower, but they can't do it yet because the altars have spawned.
Very important to track here, Rhaegar actually used Cleanse. So HOTSLADY, they must feel really comfortable about engaging with some of their hard crowd control, because they know that one of the counters is no longer available. Divine Shield being used on Val immediately. She pops the strafe, hits many people at the same time, hits the cocoon as well. So Oriel is released right now, but 1-for-1 trade, and of course that's...
The Ancestral's good. They turn it round. Tormented Souls, but he's silenced. He can't teleport to follow in. Finally, it expires as they try to focus onto Dahaka. Does he have his burrow to escape? The poison ticking down onto him. He burrows to prevent the damage, and he will escape. A noob not so lucky as HOTSLADY take another fight.
It is so hard to get rid of Malthael when he keeps on sticking to you. The silence was good. I think it could have ended way worse if that isolation had not landed on Malthael, because then he would have been able to blink in way earlier to deal more damage as a whole. But still, HOTSLADY on the warpath. The core count is still very close though, 14 to 12. And as you said, the last turn was definitely in favor of KT because they had more bell towers overall. Now, I like what HOTSLADY is doing. They're trying to get as many objectives at the same time. We see the increased attack speed, by the way, on the side of Oriel to make Y on the Vala even scarier.
Now, this is just a weird scenario that KT have actually had the advantage in terms of bell tower numbers basically all game, but they are still behind in core shots. They've had such good rotations and won so many team fights, but it's never at the correct time. It's never when the altars are up.
Exactly. It's just so unfortunate for KT. Despite playing a good pushing and sieging game, they never really get the bell tower when it really matters, right? So Neptune, he's playing a dangerous game there as well. If he gets discovered by the Malthael, could be in trouble. But no, Falstead blocking the way here with his presence in lane. Only 1 altar activated Tetcher. And look at KT's XP. They're so much closer to level 20 than HOTSLADY. HOTSLADY needs to force a fight right now before they fall behind in talents.
Lens was just used. Rhaegar rotating the long way around to make sure he's back to his team. The only person here, sorry, not here, is Dahaka and Malthael. Malthael taking a long wrap around to try and grab the altar, while Dahaka is putting some pressure onto his top bell tower. It looks like he is going to tunnel in to join his team eventually.
Oh, too late.
It's too late. Shots taken, and now Dahaka's really zoned out, so he has to either be back or try and wrap him from behind. Ancestral Healing having to be used on Greymane to keep him alive. The Gust isolates Malthael and Storm Shield, keeping everyone else alive as they focus him down. The spreading isolation from Dahaka hits everyone, and they are shredded. Pommy focused down. He delays his own death, but he shall almost certainly fall. Maybe he won't actually.
Oh, he lives.
That's death. Uther healing, keeping him alive. Now it is Y who is in danger up at top. Can Butcher finish him off? Death Zone and Stitches coming in. Maybe he's bitten off more than he can chew. Butcher will get out, but so does Y. That's still at 2 for 0 though, and that spreading isolation level 20 hit, the perfect time for KT.
Yeah.
And it's back to killing bell
KT's not done yet. They go in on the Stitches. The Curse Bullet landed, and I think that might be a dead tank here on the side of HOTSLADY. A big win for KT. 3 people at the same time. The redemption was not yet there for Uther, of course, because that level 20 was so close to being obtained. But I gotta say, HOTSLADY still got the value from those altars, and they're going to be the ones who get 20 soon though. Fury though, they use their global mobility to the fullest here to get as many bell towers as humanly possible, and they take the boss right after.
I don't think I've ever seen, just to talk about that last fight for a second there, I don't think I've ever seen a 4-man isolation. Like, that was awesome. The Contagion getting so much value. And that Dahaka really earning its salt there as he does tunnel down somewhere. Where did he go? Oh, he just ran down to get a little bit closer. Stitches has died somewhere.
He died in the bottom.
Yeah, I got the death sound effect on my side. Don't know why I got that. That was weird. Maybe someone's hitting metal outside. Either way, we do see KT continuing to rotate. They're trying to get these extra free shots again as they are still behind by 2 shots there, but tunneling in. Double isolation this time. They're able to take the camp faster. Just everyone in, but Malthael is getting some really good value this time with the Tormented Souls and the healing reduction, trying to take down the Dahaka first, but a noob getting so much CC. Ariel healing everyone, the Shield of Hope, keeping everyone sustained. The Ancestral does not land. Down goes Dahaka, Rhaegar, and a noob. Falstad shall fall shortly afterwards, after some nice dukes actually. Does he have Epic Mount? Yes, he does, but stunned out, and he shall be taken down. Full team wipe by HOTSLADY, and guess what? It's double altar. All they need to do is to clear out some bell towers.
I'm pretty sure that Meng on the Uther in that moment was shouting, "Well met!" Very loudly, whatever the Chinese equivalent might be. But yeah, as you said, they're in this weird situation where they really need to go for bell towers first in order to get enough value in. Now, there's they need 1 more.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right now they have.
No, they have 4. It's exactly enough.
Rotation,
it's exactly enough.
Second rotation, no one is up, and that is GG. HOTSLADY taking game number 1. But what a back and forth match.
Whew, I'm starting to sweat here on my office chair because that was one hell of a game. And look at the ladies; they're extremely happy because, let's face it, KT did not go down without a fight. They dominated the bell tower game, they dominated the rotations, but when it came to raw team fighting, the Malthael engage, the double support, the healing, the protection, it was too much for them to break through.
Yeah, it was so good. That Shield of Faith, Shield of Hope, sorry,
yeah,
at the very last fight by Pommy. Pommy consistently proving to us, yeah, Pommy just proving that he deserved to be picked up after Kiss disbanded at the end of the last phase. What a beautiful save for his team there.
Absolutely. Like, Pommy easily becomes one of the most accomplished, not really accomplished because there's still much for him to be improved on, but one of the most improved players, I might want to say, compared to Phase 1, where he was with Kiss, the absolute bottom tier team. We might actually call them the Wukong Gaming of Phase 1, and yet he continued to impress, and that's why other teams, they realized, hey, there's a diamond in the rough. We're going to take this player into our own roster, and we're going to make it a stronger one. And so far, this strategy, this plan really works out for HOTSLADY. Now, HOTSLADY, the curse of the tie, the curse of the 1-1. Can they finally bring home their first 2-0 in the league?
We will have to see, because right now, they are in a good position to do so. Even if they tie right now, though, KT will remain ahead of them in terms of the standings. HOTSLADY do need to get the 2-0. If they do get a 2-0, however, then they're going to get a big old boost in points. Currently, SOA just lost 0-2, so if HOTSLADY were able to get 3 points, they would overtake SOA and become 5th place, just behind RPG.